I dealt with losing my fiance on September 11th, and I dealt with losing my father when I was 15. And I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but my father died of a cocaine overdose when he was 44. And I had to spend years trying to, as a young kid, watch it where he thought no one knew, right? And then, be part of, interventions and hoping that I wasn't going to be someone that grew up without a dad. And I remember when I first saw you on the show, I remember thinking it was so great that you were on there because I came from a position of knowing from the child, right? Of knowing how awful of a loss it would be if something had happened to you. And, so that's why I appreciated meeting you at the very beginning because I knew you from New York and your history as a baseball player and watching you as a kid. But for me, it was more special being able to meet you because I knew in the back of my head, you were getting the help and how devastated your child would be if you weren't here. So that was my connection with you originally.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing it right now because like that, I need to hear it because a lot of times I talk to my kids, I know I hurt them bad, but they never would tell me how they really felt. But I always tell them all the times, I screwed up. I know I done some bad things. I missed your parties. I missed this. I did this. I divorced your mom for the wrong reasons, all this stuff. But we had the family intervention and stuff. I just need you guys to tell me how you feel. But they'll just cry.
Right.
So I knew I crushed them, and I wanted to hear from them how I did it because I need to feel that.
Right.
I need to feel it. But I just knew, but they would never say it. But to hear you just tell me now from the kid's side,
And it is so hard when you're a child because you don't know how to verbalize that because you're scared. You don't want to say something to make your parent mad, but also you're angry. There's so many emotions. But losing the parent is worse because then you haven't said what you wanted to say. Right. Do you know what I mean? So even though they may not have had the words to say it, they at least still have you. And they can be pains in the asses and mean to you or whatever it is now. But I think it's because they know that you're here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they appreciate you're here. And it's so hard to verbalize any of that while someone's around. It's sometimes easier to make sense of it after they're gone. And luckily for them and for you, you didn't have to go through that.
But So I always tell myself I do not want to be dead. And my kids are like, got to live with that. How did your dad die? Because they'll forget about all the great things you did. They'll just remember that last thing.
Right.
I get it. But then I also say I have to do it for myself. I do it for myself, then it's doing it for everybody else.
Yeah.
I had to get to that point because...
And I know that you said you didn't think you would make it to 50.
No.
Like you thought...
That? Yeah, I didn't. I thought there's no way because there's so much going on and I'm like, I've done so much damage.
Yeah.
Every time I get a cold or I don't feel good, I don't want to take no physical because I'm taking my kidneys, my liver, something. But everything's been fine. And so now I feel like I'm still here. I'm sure people lost their life doing a lot less than I've done.
Yeah.
So I think it's keeping me around because baseball was my dream. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because baseball was my dream. Mm-hmm. Now I'm living a dream for others just to share my message. That's all. Yeah. Just to be accountable, just to show up, and just to share my story. And I'm not ashamed of it anymore because I don't live that life anymore. Right. So it's easier now to talk about it. Right. Exactly. So obviously you've gone through a lot of ups and downs, but clearly you've been noticed and people want to remember you. They are retiring your number next year. Where were you when you got that call? I was at home, and it was funny because Steve Cohen, when he called me, I've talked to him maybe twice at the Old Timers game and then once at a charity event, but I never talked to him on the phone. So when he called, he goes, "Hey, I speak to Dwight Gooden." I said, "Speaking." He goes, "This is Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets." I said, "Hey, Steve, how you doing?" He goes, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Yes." Then I say, "Who the F is this?" Because I'm like, you thought you were being punked. A prank call. Yeah. He said, "This is Steve Cohen." And I'm like, I intentionally hung the phone up. But I called that number back, and it was the Mets, the office. I'm like, oh, man. So I had to apologize to him. You hung up on him and called him back? I thought it was a prank, so I called it back. Right. That number. So I'm like, great. Oh, man. So I apologized to him. And he said, yeah, we're going to retire. Did he laugh? Yeah, he laughed a bit. But I still think he was like, man, this guy was like cursing at me. So he said, we're going to retire your number next year. Well deserved. We don't know the date yet. They told me the date now. Mm-hmm. So I look at that as like a celebration for myself, my family, my fans, friends, everyone who's been with me from day one as a fan, and everyone who's been with me to help me still be to this point because without so many people in my corner, it don't happen as a career. And then my first wife was married 17 years. For her, basically being the mother and the dad, because when I was playing ball, even when I was healthy, I missed a lot of school activities because I'm in New York, they're in Florida, to do all that. So many people made it possible for me to play the part. Right. So I look at it as a celebration. Right. Absolutely. And how special is it that Daryl's number is getting retired the same year? Have you guys talked about it? Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah. We had a great talk about it. We laughed about it because we basically live the same life. We got the same middle names. You know, we've been to the same rehabs.
Yeah.
Same institutions, jails, prisons, all this stuff the same. And now for it to happen the same year, when neither one of us thought we would be here.
Right.
Though he's doing great with his ministry now. Everything is going well. And I'm just more proud of him than I am myself, basically, because with me, I look at it, I'm glad for myself, but I look at it for everybody.
Right.
Big celebration. But I'm very, very proud of him.
You've been given, or you've had a lot of accomplishments in your life.
Yes.
Where does this fall in that lineup, having your number retired?
This number one, because what I'll tell you, I was trying to get back to the Mets to retire as a Met, but to have your number retired, that's like the highest honor a team can give you. Now I think I can close the book on my career, because there's always, like, you always want to have that one day where you can go back out there and tell the fans you're sorry.
Yeah.
Tell them, this is how I feel. You guys are part of this.
Yeah. And
now I get to have that day. Earlier this year, in September, I got inducted into the Negro League Museum Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
Which was like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they hit a history, and they walked through the museum with my kids and grandkids. It's amazing. And now to have them all there at the stadium when they hang my number up there with a lot of grace, I mean, that's like, I can't really find the words, but I'm sure, hopefully I get through it. I'll get emotional.
Yeah.
I'm there, but even if I get emotional, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? I think everyone else will be pretty emotional, too, watching you.
So I look at it as a celebration for everything I've been through on and off the field. To have that day, it's just going to be amazing.
Right. You've talked about a lot of happy days and sad days in your career. Can you pick out one that was your happiest?
My happiest day? Oh, wow. The happiest day I ever had. Probably, besides today. I mean, each day I wake up, it's just a joy to be here. But I would probably say,
that's amazing.
Happiest day. I would probably say, wow. Put me on the spot right there.
Sorry.
It's tough. I've had so many days. I would probably, if I had to pick just one, I would probably say my granddaughter. She's 4 now, because she was born premature. She was born 2 months premature, and then watching her in the incubator or whatever, I thought there's no way she's going to make up all the tubes and stuff in her. And my daughter was calm, but every day I would go in there, I would just cry. And I'm like, man, and for her to make it now, and then when she comes, she was here yesterday.
Yeah.
Hug me and, oh, Papa, I love you, and like that. So I think seeing her come home the day that she came home.
That's amazing. Okay, good answer. What do you think made you such a good player?
I think the hard work I put in, like I tell a lot of players, like when you don't have a game and you don't have practice, what are you doing to make yourself better? For me, all I want to do is baseball. I think I love the game. I studied the game. I worked hard. And even when I was younger, my dad taught me that no matter what, don't let nobody outwork you. That's the same thing I try to tell young kids. So I think the work ethic I put in, and even when when the Yankees had benched me, I still was working hard. I still believe myself. So I would say probably confidence in my work ethic.
Okay. What person did you play with that you thought had the most natural talent?
Darryl. Strawberry, yeah. I always tell people Strawberry probably had more talent than anybody I would play with. But I would say Jeter was probably more consistent because he each every day. But Darryl, when he wanted to play, it was nobody better.